Hey, Mikey.
What up?
Happy Tuesday, man. I got those drums down now. I don't know if you were feeling that, but
We might we
hey,
might we might do a live intro next time.
ooh, that's a good call. Hey, assuming there is a next time, right? We're alive. We've been surviving. We've making it look easy so far, right, Mikey? But it all could change this week because there's no uh, there's no sure thing available, or at least for you. Um, anyway, let's talk about this past week before we go too far into that.
Pretty wild course of events. I mean, the the end result is kind of blah and whatever. I think it was like 7 of the top 8 go through, maybe something like that. But the way that we got there was kind of wild. If you had any shares of the Broncos Giants action, that one was crazy for sure.
That was so fun.
Yeah, I know that. I know everybody is, has had their breath held because, collectively, because I talk about who we're kind of thinking about in my own pick, but I don't ultimately say which. So because we conduct our vote after this podcast takes place. So happy to report that we had the Bears, which got a little bit dicey towards the end, but I felt like it was in hand more or less the whole way. Especially they kicked a field goal to put it at I think 9 points, and that's when I was like, all right, this thing's finished.
Yeah, there was maybe a minute in there when at some point when they had what's his name, Taysom Hill in the field, you're like, uh-oh.
I know something. What's coming here?
Yeah, but that was a great pick. Every other team has like that future value, right? And Chicago doesn't seem to, although maybe they're a little teeny bit better than what I was thinking. They do get to host Cleveland later this year, so maybe you regret that yesterday. We'll see.
There's a handful of teams that are kind of falling into that category. I know that we talked. It seems like each week we talk about, well, obviously starting at the very first week of the season, you're going off nothing. There's some ideas that you have, but it's not really based on anything, and you don't have any sample size. And then as you get to, we said, I think it was like week 3, we were kind of like, okay, this is where we can sort of, factor in what's taking place this season and use that for projections as opposed to basing it off of last season. And now I think it's like, now we have a pretty good understanding. And like, there's a handful of teams that are the delta between where they started in week 1 and like what we projected where they are now versus the actual. So an example of that would be like Panthers. You can't really pencil in a win against them as much as you might have thought. And then maybe to the opposite side, like the Jets and the Saints suck like more than we anticipated them sucking.
I hear all that. It's weird though with these when they play each other. Like when Panthers play the Jets and they get the win. I think they didn't really impress. I didn't watch any of the game, but just looking at the advanced numbers, I feel like a week ago it was like, oh, maybe Carolina starts like keep pipping up, but I don't know if they're going to get out of the basement with the rest of those teams.
Like, yeah, that's fair, and like the competition, of course, matters, but it's kind of like you're lumping this team in with the teams that suck, and then they're going to finish like whatever, 6 and 11. Whereas the other teams that suck are going to finish like 0-17.
Yeah, man, these bad teams, like there's a handful that seem really bad, right? Like, if you get 2 or 3 wins, you might be picking 4th in the draft, which would be like
that's wild. Yeah, they're going to have to go to like point differential or whatever the tiebreakers are or something.
Yeah, it always seems this way though, right? And these bad teams, they get wins, they get a win or 2. Probably, right?
Probably is the key there. I mean, it's difficult to find one. I can find one for New Orleans. It's difficult to find one for the Jets,
Tennessee,
I think.
Oh, Yes, well, hey, that does kind of lead into this week's stuff since they're one of the targets this week. But Tennessee,
And another team that falls into that category, sorry to interrupt you, is the Dolphins. I did not project them to be this bad. I thought they were. I actually would have guessed much different, like 8 and 9, 9 and 8. That's in my mind prior to the season starting, and now it's like bullet train to 0.
If they had everyone healthy, I could see them still getting the 8 wins if this was a few weeks ago, right? But they're an interesting one too, because they looked worse. They had to look worse than they were this past weekend. They're playing Cleveland's defense. Cleveland's defense, one of the scariest defenses the world has ever seen, right? Like they just keep clamping every single team, win or loss. They shut them down.
Yeah, which when you're deep, I guess it works both ways. But when your defense is super good, it definitely keeps you in the game, and gives you a puncher's chance.
Yeah. The NFL. I mean, all these comebacks, these crazy games are all defensive, inspired, right? We haven't seen your offensive shootout. I guess we've seen a couple of them this year, but it's like kind of the pendulum swings. I feel like maybe I forget how many years ago it was, but there was one year the totals were all at 50, and everyone went over that. And
yeah,
I guess I should kind of try to track that over the years more, because it is interesting how the rules change, how the styles change.
I think you're right. I think at least I don't know the end result of overs and unders, but I think the totals are definitely skewing lower. I think I think the one Europe game was like 32 or something the other day, which was that's like an Army Navy game or something.
Oh, maybe that was the Broncos Jets the week before. Maybe
I can't remember. It might have been, but I remember looking at the total and being like, I mean, Iowa State I think is like the one that I can remember that was like 27 once.
Right, they haven't thrown a pass in those games. The first 2 downs.
Yeah, see, we run the wishbone here. See.
Yeah. Defense wins games. Defense can knock out a survivor. The only people that got knocked out last week, really, obviously there was some tiny pockets, but Pittsburgh was like the only significant one. That was Thursday night.
Yeah.
I think there'd been like 4 divisional games in a row on Thursday, but 3 of them.
You mentioned that last week. You brought that up as a point. You get some for that.
Yeah, you tried to say it was all voodoo and nonsense, but
I did. I specifically said that.
But interesting, I think. Since the Rams got waxed a few weeks ago at a high popularity on Thursday, then the next week Eagles were a touchdown favorite, and they only got picked like 2%. And then Steelers, they were like 70% to win or something, and they only got picked 4%. And both those last Thursdays got knocked out. The Eagles and Pittsburgh, they both were so unpopular. I think they were great plays. Like how I approached the game, being on the Thursday night spot where you were, what was it, 6.5 point favorite? I forget, something like that.
Yeah,
but
I think
being on that, and it's only 4% of the field. And obviously Pittsburgh has some future vibes, but they're not like as strong as so many of these other teams, right? So all the people got knocked out on that. I think you played good. Sorry though.
Yeah, well, not much consolation.
Right. And then Sunday was fun. Our buddy Jamie, he was in town, and he has 1 injury left. It was on the Broncos, and watching the game with someone who has 1 injury left, and it was on the Broncos. That's like some entertainment that's pretty rare in this world, because no matter what human you choose, if they're into Survivor, they've been playing it for 10 years, and they have 1 entry left in Circa, and they experience that, it's like once in a lifetime type of ride, man. Like, 90% of the field was watching the game, and they were like mad that Denver did.
Right.
But they didn't feel like the magic that the Denver people felt. There's something
that is part of it. I actually wanted to bring that up because you are, talking about something that I was thinking about, where like Jamie's going to go and tell his buddies like, oh my God, we had, no chance. The win percentage was like 100%, all blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, you'll never guess. All these things happen and we walk away a winner, right? And then it reminds me of like people that are like, oh, I get so screwed all the time in sports betting. And they're like, guy snaps the ball over his head, safety, and they cover it by point or something like that. And I lose. But like, what about the other way? There was somebody that bet on the other side, and I just feel like you hear about these complaints more than you hear about like the good beats. So I'm glad it happened to Jamie, and I love hearing like a good beat.
Yes. Hey, I know what you're saying. You don't see enough gratitude for the lucky people.
Right.
But hey, I'll say it. I'm maybe the luckiest person on the planet. So a lot of gratitude right here. The Jamie comeback.
That's a good outlook, buddy.
I'm not just saying it, dude. But the fun, when Denver was down by so much, he's writing it off in his head. It's over. It's over.
Yeah.
Like zero hope. And then to go from zero hope to being in the lead.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, a lot of stuff happened.
Yeah. To the transition.
But like taking the lead, it felt like, or watching him, he felt like, oh, they have the lead. This was so insurmountable to get here that now they are going to win. But we know there was like 2 minutes left or whatever, and then getting to watch the Giants come down and all the kind of great plays they're making.
Yeah.
Right. And then. And there was like the PI, but there was also the two Denver players colliding in the air.
Yeah. It was a cacophony of it was like a Three Stooges type of end game.
But that stuff had him like, okay, now it's 100% to win. And then when of course Giants scored, to see someone have no hope and then like their whole life got infused with like hope of the biggest prize, right? And then to see it all get taken away again. That was already what's the word? Entertainment enough. But then to see he got the final comeback, it was like all is right in the world. Sorry for the rest of the field, but man, that was just an enjoyable ride. Also, I like how we had the 28-3 meme with New England, Atlanta,
and Atlanta, yeah.
And now we got the new score meme, which is 0-0-0-33, because no one's ever put up that many in a quarter. Maybe one person did or something in the fourth, but especially
I saw that it was whatever the variables that were used. It doesn't even matter. But the teams were 1,600-0.
Oh, right.
In a certain situation, up this much by this many, blah blah. Whatever you want to.
I think it was maybe something like 18 points in the last 5 minutes.
Like that. Yeah. Okay. It was 1,600-0.
Yes, and not only do they come back, but they did get scored on again, and then they scored again. So like they did the comeback. And man, it's both those teams are funny teams to like get a beat on, right? Going forward, like the Giants can seriously move the ball. I mean, what am I saying? I watched the plays; it seemed like they're good, but it's a Denver. Should they be that good? I don't know. But also
their quarterback is only going to get better, presumably. Like at least it seems that way at the moment.
Yeah, they're fun to watch too. But like the defense seems awesome, and then the defense coordinator like took them all out at the end and put them into coverage. I don't know. Did you see all that about the coach? And it does. You can't build that much strength on bad vibes, my read on that situation. So they might get some wins, but I'm not expecting them to knock out a bunch of Survivor teams. We'll see, though. Shoot.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of Survivor viability, I don't necessarily think like they've morphed into some like team that matters.
Yeah, they're one of the dangerous bums. Like Cleveland's kind of a dangerous bum.
Okay, so like Panthers are like dangerous bum.
they're starting to become one. I guess so. I guess they're right on they're on the line. The
Where like
Saints,
Tennessee Saints are just bum.
yeah, like Cam Ward has that thing where you can like imagine him just winning a game by slinging that thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
but Spencer Rattler, it's hard to. I mean, make some good throws every now.
I agree. It's hard to see him like
just John Elway and that stuff.
Yeah, and just I don't know, just like winning the game.
Yeah, so lots of people surviving, man. This is like the highest survival rate there's ever been. It seems like.
Is that true? I was going to ask you about that because I don't know past statistics all that well.
This is just my gut. I don't have any facts in front of me, but I've been playing a long time, and I just don't remember ever being like, "Wow, everyone's going," like.
Well, let's boot it up. We got 4,213 players left out of 18,717.
Entries.
4.4K is your ticket value.
Hey, here's a theory, dude. Just I don't know what the words are going to be. I just have a thought pops in my head. In the world since, what was the famous NBA guy who was famous for tanking? He was just like, we'll tank for the process in Philadelphia. They tank for like years.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like ever since that, the idea of teams like tanking, not the players, but from the top of the organization.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
It's like clicking more with these people. Okay, we have a bad year where our cap is spent all this type of way. We're dead. We're contract.
We need a quarterback, something like that.
Yeah, and there's a handful of just gutted teams that are stone terrible, and it makes more survival happen because we have all these targets every week. And like the Steelers, for example. Mike Tomlin tries to win every game he can. They're not ever like cutting players and dumping their assets and collecting draft picks and trying to rebuild. They're always just like, we're trying to win this year.
Win every year, yeah.
And if every team was like that, maybe there'd be less survival. But there's some teams that just seem like, what are they doing? Like maybe it's the ownership problems, right? Like the Tennessee owner, the Jets owner.
Well, for 20 years, that was the case with the Redskins. I mean, it seemed like they were tanking. They were terrific.
They would try. They would bring in some people and just fail, though. That's kind of different, right? Oh, we got.
Okay, so like, do you think that? I mean, what do you think is going on? Let's take Titans, Saints, and the Dolphins. I mean, also like, how lucky are those teams like that get to play Titans twice and Saints twice?
Yep.
That's pretty wild in itself. It's like 4 free wins.
Yes, maybe the trap games though, because last year Carolina, torched some people's money the last week of the season, or they beat by beating the Falcons. So.
Right. Okay. Before I forget, because let's come back to what we were just talking about because I want to. But I was looking at the forecast, and one of the teams that's good for this coming week, I can't remember who it was, but they're projected. Like I was looking at their future value, and they were projected for 2 spots. Okay, so it's Buffalo. And I wanted to ask you about this, and I'm going to forget about it. Okay, so it's Buffalo versus the Panthers, right? And so their value right now in this week's game, week 8 game, is third in terms of their greatest spread for the remainder of the season. But the 2 spreads that are higher.
Hold on. The words you're saying. You're talking about the future spread thing we do, or
yeah. So like if you look at Buffalo for the rest of the season,
yep,
their spread for this coming week, week 8, is in 3rd place there's 2 other times that they have bigger point spreads that are projected.
Yes.
And those 2 times are week 14 against the Bengals and then week 18 against the Jets.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking that, yes, the current iteration of the Bengals might, that might make sense. But if, they have Burrow back at that time and all, everything's kind of up and running, all cylinders are firing, then that, doesn't necessarily reflect the current projection of Bills Bengals, right? It's
Yes.
going to be far closer. And then the other thing is week 18 against the Jets. If Buffalo is squarely in the lead, they might be doing like a rest the starters type of bit. And the Jets obviously have, they're probably trying to get 1 win, if anything.
Yes. One thing though, Buffalo is like not likely to be the first seed.
Well, either way, let's say they can't be the first seed or they are the first seed, then it's unlikely that week 8 they're in a position where week 18 it's possible that it does not matter for them.
Okay, but I hear that. I know what you're saying. All the week 18 stuff sketchy. Just want to say that using the current power ratings and figuring out the seed probabilities, they're about 15-16% to be the number 1 seed. And you got to think some of that time, maybe it's not locked up that week anyway. So if I had to bet now that Buffalo would be like trying hard that last week, I'd lay 3-1 or something like that.
Okay.
Anyway.
All right. That's fair. But it still offers the possibility that it doesn't matter for them. And then, so now you're looking at, if that's the case, those 2 spots that are currently better than this week are not in reality, or have the possibility to not be. And so, Buffalo, like your quote unquote best time to use Buffalo could in fact be this week.
Okay. Mikey brought up some great points, dude. And I got a hidden Survivor Atlas feature that might just like change your world.
Tells you who's going to win.
Okay.
Gabe's a time traveler.
Yeah, so you're talking about Buffalo having better spots in the future. And I did better in quotes. If you're listening on the audio, you don't see me doing little quote fingers, but I'm saying better because I don't know if higher win percentage means better, because there's 1 week where they have a lower win percentage, but it's a greater share of the wins of that.
Okay, fair enough. Relative to the rest of the competition. To be fair, I did not do that analysis. Okay,
so there's a number though. It shows, you can see it on the map. If you hit map controls, and then use win share colors. Bang. Okay, are you looking at the map on your own, or are you looking at the screen, Mikey? You see this?
I'm looking at it on my computer.
Okay, you got the win share colors up?
I do.
Okay, so now that number on the bottom right corner, instead of win percentage, it's win shares. And we have a little formula. We can talk about that if you want. But now if you go through, you see Buffalo has 9% win shares this week. And in week 10, they're a smaller favorite, but they have 15% of the win shares.
Right.
So, and look in the future, week 18, they're a big favorite, but there's lots of big favorites in. So their win shares, I see 13%.
Okay, so now add another layer on top of this whole thing. We're looking at week 10 where Buffalo has the bigger win share percentage, but I've burned, the Colts and, probably I'll go down the list, and I've burned the Broncos, and they have win share percentages that I'm not privy to because I selected them already.
Right. So it sounds like you need Buffalo that week.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess you're right.
Use Buffalo. I mean, most field doesn't have them. They have like their second, they're the second biggest favorite on the look ahead. And you burned all the other good teams that week. I think.
No, Seattle.
I think. Oh, you didn't use Seattle? Oh.
No.
I think I mean, there's a lot of choices for your entry this week, right? But
we can talk week 8.
Yeah, well, this is good. This is a good segue to it. I think because of week 10 in your spot, using Buffalo now, I think it'd be a mistake. To be honest.
It just feels like we've made it so far by taking these 1 week wonder teams, and we've continually snuck one by the goalie. And when is it going to be time to cash in on that effort?
Well, hey, week 10 it might count as cashing in because listen, week 10 is the tightest week on the map from here to Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Week 10 it looks like the hard one. Like every other week there's like a little bit of a menu. Week 10 obviously things could change, right? Things could go up and down, but week 10 looks.
And I mean, this is that's a good introduction to week 8 because I don't know, I haven't looked at each spot, and week 18 looks like a big menu too, but by then you're going to have burned so many teams. I mean, this week feels like I texted you before we started that we have genuinely 8 different teams we can pick. And and that's not even reaching. I'm not even talking a 3-point favorite or something like that. There's 8 legitimate teams that are pickable.
Yeah, it's kind of like everyone has that this week. Obviously, let's talk about the projections that'll kind of lay out.
Okay.
So we put Indy number 1, because they're 38% available. Almost or most of those people are definitely going to take Indy. Just because
why do you think I shouldn't say why. I mean, you think the Colts are going to be substantially more than the Falcons?
Well, we put Falcons number 2, and there's already been at least one smart person saying, I think Cincinnati's going to be picked more than Atlanta. And when we put our projections out first because we want people to have the reaction ideas from it, right? So, and I mean, seeing someone say that already makes me go okay, what are we missing? Is it because the Penix injury, where Kirk Cousins is playing and people would be wanting that or not wanting that? So just throwing it out there, it's not clear to me that Atlanta is number 2. And could they be number 1? I think there's a chance Miami kind of missed the opportunity to fire everyone. If they fired everyone yesterday, it would have been like Atlanta, we'd be crip walking or something.
Yeah.
But they're just kind of holding tight right there at 7. So anyway, Indianapolis is such a big favorite. And most people don't have them. The EV, it's like slam dunk plus EV, and their future schedule for them. There's a few weeks that they're starting now that their power rating is so strong. There's a few weeks that are interesting. Them hosting Houston, playing Jacksonville twice, hosting Atlanta, and you're not going to need those spots, or you're probably not going to need Indy later. But Indy is going to be the first team that's disappears as far as availability.
Right.
They're 39%, and we know a ton of those people are picking them this week. It's just no question, at least 2/3 are picking them.
They didn't pick them in the previous spot. I think it was 2 weeks ago or whatever, with the intention of picking them this week.
Yes. And it just you just know that it's going to get eaten up. Whether they win or lose, the availability has just a great chance of shrinking, right? I guess if they lose, whatever happens, they're gonna be shrinking. It's just hard to imagine anything else. So, point being, if you know a team is not available late, then and they're a really powerful team in general, they win a lot of games. Some people think they're elite, right? Then in Survivor, it's worth a ton when you can get on those spots where no one else has them. You might map Map your way to however far, and you always land on San Fran week 12 against Carolina.
Right.
I think a lot of people do this. Maybe everyone that's mapping on San Fran that spot, and they're completely available to everyone. But the map spot isn't as it's way different if it's 100% available compared to 1% available. Like
Right.
when it's 100% available, that's when you like gain on the field. When it's 100% available, it's just when you're with the field and hoping, I'll get them later. So the Indy spot, I don't think it's a slam dunk lock them in if you have them. I think it's worth considering, if you like one of the ball reads lower down. Also, side note, kind of interesting, found this digging on the teams tab. In hindsight, it makes sense, but if you look at the people with Indy available and like see what kind of entry that is,
Yeah.
kind of interesting because of how it worked out a few weeks ago. The people with Indy available, 80% of them have burned Detroit because of how a few weeks ago, in Cardinals and Rams lost.
Right.
So most people in the field, like half the field has Detroit, half of them don't. But all the people with Indy don't have Detroit.
Right.
So maybe it's worth thinking about if you have them and you want to save them. Maybe you have some angle down the line where you can kind of catch up since you don't have Detroit. I don't know. I don't have like a firm tactic for that. I just noticed it, thought it was interesting.
So what you're saying is, let's say you have Indy and you don't use them this week. You can do so. Let's say something like a week 13, where they might be like, I don't know, 2% available at that point.
Yes. Like that's a perfect one to look at. Week 13 is one of those weird weeks, the kind of weird bottleneck week.
Yeah.
But I think since everyone's setting themselves up for Chargers versus Vegas, then
yeah,
and Charger or like the way the Raiders got destroyed 2 days ago was remarkable. Like it wasn't.
You just want to set yourself up for like, okay, you can bypass a Chargers -9 in lieu of a Colts -6, where there's 3 teams on Colts -6 and I don't know 1,060 on Chargers -9.
Yeah, so if you're trying to I think in Survivor, it's about kind of setting yourself up for those spots. And I guess if you saw the Chargers versus Vegas and you thought, how could I use that against the field? You could try
this
to,
is a way.
Or I was going to say, try to keep Chargers until the week 17 spot.
Right. That's what I mean. Or even next week versus Tennessee or something, however you want to set it up.
Yes. Just in general, trying to have a team that is going scarce. It's disappearing for the field. A lot of teams might not have any future spots when they disappear, but
That's
Indy
true.
and Denver, we see on the map that these teams, they're above average teams. They're playing a few below average teams. And, if you're trying to win $18 million, that seems like one of the
that's the spot that you need. That's like a
if you're trying to win
that, and then you also, but it's a parlay because you need that spot, and then you also need the Chargers to lose.
Yeah. So hey, I'm curious. In your group, do you get the vibe that people want to just get to the end, or are they trying to maximize $18 million scoop value? Like, are they just happy to get to the end with 50 people?
No, I mean everyone would be like ecstatic to make it to the end.
Right. So if everyone thinks that, I know you guys don't have Indy, but like if you think that, then Indy's like 100% you're playing Indy for those that have it. I think the people with Indy who are saving them are thinking of how they can get creative to punish everyone later. Tough spot though. So you guys are considering everything on the board. You guys are probably thinking Atlanta, New England, Cincy, Baltimore, Tampa Bay. You considering all those?
So I usually send out. Well, not usually. I do send out an overarching description of the situation that we're in. So like each week, and I'll say, we can take, these are the teams that are up for, that we should consider. These are the options, and think about this, and then we'll take our vote whenever. And so this week, normally it's like 4 or 5 teams, and I say like, the list is not exhaustive. You can even take an underdog. Who cares? But consider this. And like one of the things that I repeatedly say is like, Chiefs are a great pick. They're 10-point favorites, but they're a double holiday team. And so if you are voting for the Chiefs this week, just make sure you have a plan in mind for how you want to handle Thanksgiving and Christmas. And so this week it was a lengthy text. I mean, so for us, we don't have the Colts available, so no explanation needed for them. But I mentioned the Chiefs already, and I say like, it's fine. You can certainly vote for them, but like, just I would advise against it just because it seems, iffy for those 2 bottleneck spots on the holidays.
Sorry.
Yeah, go.
I was gonna say that with so many options on the menu, it's hard to pick Kansas City, right? This week.
Right. That's the thing.
Like everyone wants to use them on the holidays, hopefully, or whatever. But having so many choices, people can it's more space to come up with ball reads that you feel comfy on locking in a team, right? You're like, what? Flacco is just actually the MVP. He's gonna scorch the Jets. I don't know. I don't know if that's how you guys put that in your process. If people are arguing about offensive lines and deep balls and cover 2s and stuff, or
no, I try to. I actually not necessarily ban, but do not invite justifications for your picks unless we get to a point where there's a tie or something like that.
Oh, interesting.
So dude, I don't need my phone buzzing all day with the corner on Cincinnati gets burned in cover 2 situations, and I don't need all that.
Right. Oh, I heard he had a bad day at practice.
Right.
We're off the Bengals.
I was listening to the beat reporter from WQRZ in Cincy, and he said this.
Yeah, I admit I like that stuff in the 25th hour, like when it's the last time to lock in a pick. I sometimes cruise the subreddit of a team just to tap into vibes.
That's wild. I mean, what is Johnny Chargers fan going to tell you that
it's because
being reported?
I mean I understand it's dumb, but it's something I'm so about the Survivor stuff, because we have this website, because we have this content, and it's all just the anti-ball Survivor stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't swim in the ball knowledge much, and Reddit going to the fans of a team is full dive into the how they feel about the ball stuff.
Well, it's back to what we were saying. I don't remember when it was a couple weeks ago, where there's this whole element of football that nobody knows a single thing about, which is the offensive and defensive line, and the only people that know anything about that for your team are the fans of your individual team. If you're a big time Redskins fan or something, you're gonna know. You're going to know your offensive lineman and be like, oh, this guy sucks. This guy's good. The backup to this guy's playing this week. Whereas, if you ask that same fan to break down the Chargers offensive line, he's going to be like, I don't know a single thing about that.
Right. I think I know what you mean. Yeah, so it's kind of, I'm not recommending anyone do it for alpha or anything. I'm just saying it's kind of it's just part of some of the picking sometimes. I don't know. it's hard to make these picks, man. It's almost I don't know. Everyone has their own way of doing it. Whatever. Everyone's got to discover for themselves what gets them to press the button and feel good about it.
I hope nobody from my group is watching this, because I'm gonna like let them in on my secret. I like to like let other people vote before I cast my vote, and get a flavor of like how it's going. And then one of my best moves is once the vote, like a couple weeks, it came in for 6 straight votes on one team. So we have 10 people, so the vote was immediately over. And I'll do a vote for posterity and pick a different team, so that way if if we lose, I can go back and point to my my vote.
Yeah, you're really farming them for
for I don't know. I don't even know what I get out of that.
Survivor Cloud. Y'all saw I picked Cleveland last week. Y'all didn't want to take it though. Yeah, I can see you doing that. All right, man. Let's talk about this week. Picking this week some more.
Yeah. Okay. So then, we've covered Colts pretty good, and then we've covered Chiefs pretty good, where they're a holiday team, and with so many options on the board, it's difficult to see Chiefs being your best bet here. And then I don't know. So the other thing that I didn't get to Buffalo, but like Buffalo, I thought is like kind of a nice play, because one, they're only 40% available, and two, you have so many other options this week, so it's going to be relatively depressed ownership. And so if you're looking for like a good chance to use a good team, and like let's say you want to impart a little bit of ball knowledge, and you think they're 7.5 when maybe they should be 9, or whatever the case is, then this is a great opportunity for you to use Buffalo, because it's not like they're going to be 70% owned, like they would in a week where they're whatever.
Yes. Hey, that makes sense. Also, like if everyone's kind of considering Atlanta and Cincy, I think in all the entries,
right?
They're just
I mean, you have to. That's like you don't have you have to put those into your mix.
Right. There's no reason to write them off on Tuesday, at least.
Right.
So I think Buffalo, like if it felt like, let's say after Thursday at the tailgate, it felt like way too many people, like everyone's just going to take Atlanta and Cincy. Then Buffalo like starts speaking to me then, like when it seems like there's like bubbles on these teams, right?
Yeah.
But if all the teams, if it just goes like Indy 30, ATL, Cincy, both like 18, then some New England, Philly, Tampa, like if there's a huge mix, you don't get to like punish one bubble. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't matter though. I know, just in my head, usually I like doing that type of stuff when there's like huge clump on one team, and we know there's going to be a clump on Indy this week, but that's like a plus EV clump because their win percentage is so high and their availability is so low.
Yeah.
So maybe if Atlanta and Cincinnati both settle on 7.5, then Buffalo, you could be an EV hoarder. But I don't know, if those other teams are settled as big favorites, you're going to want to pick Atlanta or Cincinnati probably.
Yeah. I mean, so that's Buffalo. And then we've talked Atlanta a little bit, but so then the other thing is like Philadelphia, and they're the same as KC. Whenever Philly comes up in a previous week, I typically, I give the spiel like, yes, you can pick them, but just have a plan for Thanksgiving. And then, but if you do have a plan for Thanksgiving that doesn't involve Philadelphia, this could be an option for you.
And yes, and Baltimore, I gotta say, they're the team's getting healthier. The power ratings tick back. Now for Thanksgiving, we're seeing slight edge to the Baltimore versus Cincy spot compared to Philadelphia versus Chicago. Chicago's power rating maybe is going up a little bit.
Yeah.
So both those teams I think are interesting this week, Baltimore and Philly, where they're obviously you're burning the Thanksgiving team, but you don't need both of them.
Right.
Um,
The problem is, you don't need both of them. That's right. But it's nice to have both of them in the event Lamar, breaks his
yeah.
femur or who knows what.
Yes, yes. And I mean, they both have some incredible spots. Like Baltimore hosts the Jets, Philly hosts the Raiders. So
Right.
even if you don't use them for the Thanksgiving, those spots are probably going to be earning a bunch. Maybe not.
You're just kind of like rolling the dice but by ticking off teams that play on that slate, you're rolling the dice that those teams are going to be the same iteration of that team right now, which this year seems to have a higher injury rate than normal, at least based on the availability of players on my fantasy team. But
bad beat story.
Yeah. I had Mike Evans and
here we go.
Whoever their quarterback was, Baker Mayfield, and I needed like 21 points to win. And obviously, donut from Evans and whatever. Baker sucks butt.
Donut, not the good type, bad type of donut.
Yeah, arsenic donut.
You guys have Philly and Baltimore available?
That's true.
So you have all the holiday teams available. So if anyone could consider one of those teams, it seems like y'all could, right? Like,
well, here's another idea that I've been kicking around, and it's the Tampa Bay Bucks. I gave this in my chat where I said, like, this is an option for us, but man, does that feel like fancy play. Like, you have teams that are like 14, 10, 7.5 point favorites, and then you're gonna get fancy and take the 4.5 point favorite. That seems like
it's not that crazy though, because we have the 14 point favorite. They're only for some people. The 10 point favorite, that's Kansas City, and then the next bucket below, everyone's like 75%. Okay, Tampa Bay's 67% to win.
Yeah,
it's not as good, but it's not reaching crazy down here. You're not talking.
It feels reachy because of the options available. So like we have reached in previous weeks where we're taking some of those like teams with horrific future value, but I don't know. Tampa Bay just like it intrigues me because I think the Saints suck, but it is a bummer that like you said last week, it's in your mind the previous week, and this week, man, did they not do well. Baker was like 1 for 13 in the first half, and then obviously they lose Mike Evans, which Egbuka is pretty good, but I don't know how much of an impact that's going to have. So
yes, and
I don't know.
Divisional road game. Those New Orleans Tampa Bay games get weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm considering that one too because a few weeks ago we were talking about the Carolina being great at the end.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not like Carolina is actually strong now, but it's a little less of a reason to be salivating over Tampa Bay into the season. But also that line.
Go ahead, finish.
I was gonna say that Tampa Bay line. I think it opened up higher last night or a couple nights ago, whatever. Last night, I guess, and people have been clicking those Saints.
Yeah. So I mean, we've talked about Week 18 a handful of times, and setting yourself up for that. But like looking at Week 18, I think the closest week to Week 18 is this week, where Week 18 offers you like 9 different options of like 7 point favorites or higher. So wanting to bank some team because you think this will be my Week 18 team. I mean, you're going to have a ton of options in Week 18, which is weird to say because you will have burned 17 teams, but you're going to have at least 3 or 4 teams that are 7 point favorites. And at that point, you're looking to hedge yourself anyway.
It's funny. Whenever I map my whole way out, I'm out of teams by the end. There's nothing left.
How's that possible? How's that possible? Well, if you went the route of not taking some of these one and done teams, like the Cardinals or I'm trying to think of some of the weeks that we've taken already.
Like Houston, maybe is that one of those?
Exactly. So like we have Cardinals, Houston, whoever else, and that have bad future value. So like we have a handful of teams back. So week 18 is like the least of my concerns.
Are you considering New England this week at all? -7.
We are, but like you said, this is ball knowledge. It's just like, do you want to go against like do you want to take a game that you think is going to be like 17-10? It's like
scared of a little ball on -7.
A little bit. I like a team that's 7-point favorite. That's where the score is gonna be like 35-28 rather than 17-10. Even though the difference is one score in both, I just feel more comfortable in the 35, the team that's going to put up the 35.
Yes, but man, when you're against like on that Broncos Jets game in London a couple weeks ago, when you hit the low total and your team's up and the other team can't do a single play for positive yards because of the low total situation, there is a special like, wow, like it's not that often you get that, but it's kind of nice sometimes. I know what you mean. It can be scary though, right? Yeah.
So I wonder if there's a way to quantify that where I'm happier to take the team, all else being equal. So like, let's say Patriots are -7, and then another team that we're looking at is -7. Whichever game has the higher total makes me more comfortable taking the favorite of that game.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any like math reason why that would be actually.
There shouldn't be. I mean, because otherwise, those would be demonstrated to be correlated, and you're welcome to parlay the total and the spread. So.
Right.
So if that was true, we should keep that to ourselves for now.
Yeah.
because
we broke the whole NFL market, dude.
We have uncovered something magical. If that's the case.
Yes. Let's write that down, man. I know we're getting near the end. We got to cut off a couple minutes early today. So this is the beginning of the outro right here. And first, I want to say Brett Ritchie's been putting out some great Survivor content. He's going live. I think at the top of the hour at noon. Looking at his Survivor his way. So when this show's over, look for him on Twitter doing his thing. Also, as always, we're doing tailgate again on Thursday, 4:00 Thursday. Last week Mikey said he was going to be there, and I don't remember seeing him.
My bad.
But I understand. Survivor. There's a lot of you can't spend 24/7 thinking about Survivor. I understand that. Although every week that goes by, it's a little more. Oh, just to complain for a second. When there's like 4,000 entries in, it's not as fun to obsess about it as if there's only like 400 entries in. So
that is true. Same goes for a poker tournament. You can't be, texting your friends chip updates when there's 4,000 people up.
Yeah, like I got Survivor Madness, but I'm not like going bonkers yet. Survivor Madness. I'm just like, riding the waves. Hope we all keep surviving, and then maybe Thanksgiving will be the Carnage Day. Anyway, this week's a fun week to pick. It's gonna be hard to lock in.
Yeah.
Those ball reads all over the place if you want them. Flacco ball reads, Lamar, Hurts. Maybe Kirk Cousins is in the mix. Lots to figure out. And I guess that's it, Mikey. Good luck to you guys. We'll be in touch.
Yeah.
And I'll pray for you.
Hey, assalamu alaikum.
Okay, man.
See you.
All right. Thanks, everyone.